Today, Safer Tomorrow package of bills focused on vocational education, reducing truancy, and mentorship to reduce crime in our city. Too often, we talk about youth, but too rarely do we talk to them. Over the past weeks, I've convened and participated in conversations with hundreds of young people to hear what they are experiencing and get their thoughts on what we're missing to keep them safe and prevent crime. What young people told me was consistent across every conversation. They don't have job opportunities, they need to make money, and many are asking for more guidance as they try to navigate near impossible arrays of fear, trauma, poverty, and adult responsibilities. News headlines about youth violence is disturbing. In 2023, MPD made over 2,000 juvenile arrests, ranging from assault to homicide. Children as young as 9 years old are committing robberies. Carjackings by young people has become a common occurrence. This is not normal, and this is not okay. The rise in youth crime is our failure. What gets lost in the conversation is that our youth are scared too, and there is widespread hopelessness among our young people. They're feeling like they will never see better circumstances. And guess what? Without guidance, without opportunity, and without intervention too often, that's going to be true. And adults are afraid of young people in a way that I have never seen before. When I was a young person and I dressed like my peers, people frequently crossed the street or locked their car doors when I came past, but today we're experiencing something different. Even hardened adults who are comfortable in every part of the city tell me they feel like young people feel like they have nothing to lose. We have to get a handle on that right now. The bills I'm introducing today respond directly to the gaps where we're losing young people and the solutions I've heard from them. My Safer Today, Safer Tomorrow package of bills prevents crime by focusing on vocational education to get young people into good-paying careers, youth mentorship across the city, family engagement, and closely monitoring student truancy so we can start to intervene earlier. I want to give some specifics on the bills. My first bill, the Vocational Education for a New Generation Act, brings back vocational job training and tailors it to the needs of students today. Every student who wants vocational and career training should have access to it. And every program should result in an industry certification so that students can go right from high school into their career if that's what they want to do. This bill will establish a local career and technical education fund. The funding will be available for students and outside organizations so that we can immediately expand vocational programs that lead to industry certifications and don't require bachelor's degrees. It requires the State Superintendent of Education to assess student demand and market needs and expand programs further within 3 years. Today, only 6% of DC public school students are enrolled in career and technical education programs, but students are asking for more. Students enrolled in career programs are more likely to graduate from high school and more prepared for the workforce. My vocational education bill is all about putting good-paying, in-demand careers within reach for our students. So if they stay on this track, they are a short distance from careers and making real money. My second bill, the Youth Mentorship through Community Engagement Act, does two important things. One, it establishes a professional mentorship program for youth who have faced adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. The young people who have experienced violence, abuse, abandonment, and other severe childhood traumas are also most likely to not have the resources to overcome them. I want to pair these young people with professional mentors who are trained to work with youth with deep issues. They will work with youth inside of their schools and in their homes. They'll be current on all resources available so they can stitch together all the supports that these young people need to make positive decisions. Young people in the early stages of trauma will have the help they need to navigate the pivotal years when young people are more likely to veer off course. We're going to start catching more of our young people. 2, this bill increases our pool of mentors for youth across the city by establishing community service leave for district government employees so they can dedicate an hour every week to mentoring and tutoring young people. With thousands of professionals able to mentor and tutor DC's youth, we can create a robust support system to help young people in a time when so many of them are telling us that they need guidance that they don't have. My third and final bill in this series, the Truancy Reduction for Student Success Act, will give us a monthly school-by-school truancy report. Today, the Office of the State Superintendent of Education does a truancy report once a year at the end of the school year. That is too late for intervention. Chronic truancy is vexing the city right now, and truancy is a major risk factor for involvement in the criminal justice system. Strong school attendance is associated with student success. This legislation will allow us to intervene early, to put resources where they are needed, and to stop so much truancy in our schools and catch more of our young people before they fall into a bad path. Each of these bills tracks metrics because I want the district to assess the effectiveness of our programs. We can't just create programs. We can't just spend money. We have to create programs that work, and we have to make sure they are working as we intend them to work. Public safety must be our top priority. That means we have to be proactive, not just reactive. Policing and consequences are a critical part of public safety, but those come in after crime has happened. Evidence tells us that young people on track for good paying careers, young people with strong mentors, and young people with early truancy interventions are less likely to engage in crime. More importantly, youth are telling us that they need these things. I'll be glad to answer questions on this legislation and my conversations with young people that led to the creation of these bills. But first, I want to hand the mic to several amazing champions of DC youth standing with me today who will speak to what the bills and Safer Today, Safer Tomorrow would mean for their work. First, you will hear from Samantha Davis, Executive Director and founder of the Black Swan Academy, which offers a vital youth perspective. Samantha and Black Swan Academy youth come to the district building and make sure we are listening to youth voices about what they need because they know, but we need to make sure we are listening to them. Second, you'll hear from Kunta Bedney from the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters Union to share his perspective from the labor sector. This is a brother who knows how important vocational opportunities are and knows what happens if we don't catch our young people in time and what they can do if they have opportunities and good careers. Finally, we'll hear from Tony Lewis Jr., an activist, author, and renowned workforce specialist, somebody that I believe is more in tune than almost anybody in this city with what's happening and how we solve problems and how we reach our young people. So with that, let me hand it to our next speaker, Samantha Davis from the Black Swan Academy.
Good morning. I'm Samantha Page Davis, the founder and executive director of Black Swan Academy. Black Swan Academy works with Black youth, middle school and high school age, as well as youth of color more broadly through coalition work with the DC Girls Coalition, with United Leaders for Freedom. And we work with these young people, giving them the tools and the opportunities to create change in the community. Why? Because we know they are the true experts of their lived experience. They are the ones who will get us to the solutions that have the greatest impact for the social inequities that they face. That's why we are pleased to support the legislative efforts of Councilmember Robert White that are preventative, that are informed by young people, and seek to address the root causes of safety in this city. We are looking for safety, true safety, not security, not over-policing, not further criminalization of young people. Young people, despite the counter-narrative, are brilliant, they are powerful, they are innovative, and they yearn for a city that wraps their arms around them, that radically invests in their resources, in their communities, in their schools, and that creates solutions that will allow them to thrive. That is further mentorship, that is high quality, that is professional, that is paid, that is consistent, that is creating pipelines to careers that are care-based, that are rooted in skills building, that will build the capacity of their communities, that is creating solutions that are rooted in data, that are evidence-based. And we believe these three legislative pieces do that. While we will be working closely with Councilmember White to strengthen these legislations, we are thrilled at the model of today of seeking the input and the leadership of young people. Thank you.
Now we'll welcome Kunta Bedney from the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters Union.
I would like to thank Councilmember Robert White for putting this legislation together for the youth of the city, for giving them a true opportunity to come out of high school or training programs ready to go to work. With these bills, I believe that it could build a real true pipeline so that the youth of the city could have a true opportunity to take care of their families and live in this city and thrive. So again, I just want to thank Councilmember Robert White for putting together this legislation, understanding the youth, listening to the youth, and giving them true opportunities. Thank you.
You need no introduction, brother.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Councilmember White and his team for, I think, modeling what leaders should do, and that's listening to their constituents. And on this issue, particularly listening to young people, I had the pleasure of joining Councilmember White for a conversation with some young people not long ago. And though I'm in schools a lot, doing author talks and in community and in programs, working with young people, just hearing directly from them about how they feel was incredibly moving. And having conversations with young people say, we want jobs, or even when I get a job, it's some things that I go through that I wish I had somebody to talk to. My work has been, I've served as a mentor as well, particularly around children with incarcerated parents, and being able to coach and help and assist and support young people on their journeys. I know how important that is. This legislation is very intentional in a multitude of ways. So, we're building, if this works correctly, we're going to build our future workforce. I think that's been very, very important in the District of Columbia. We often have to recruit outside of our city for what we need here. And that has traumatic impacts on families that, particularly Black DC natives. So we're building the future workforce. We're resourcing and giving young people in-demand skill sets. And then you're gonna match those young people with people that are doing similar work, people that have ran a similar gauntlet that can inform them and support them on their journey. To me, that's a game changer. And it's coming directly from those that are in these situations. And I don't think we can talk enough about how, as adults and as people that are stable to a certain degree, we talk about our fear. But the young people are much more fearful. These are their peers. They're in the mix. And so many of them want to do other things and can do other things. Legislation like this is going to help them have a pathway to that. And what that does is provide hope and vision for them. And that's how I think we move the needle. I want to thank again Councilmember White for your leadership on this. And as I close, we are in Black History Month. I think it's been a big discussion, back in the day about Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, right? And I think in so many ways we went too far, not too far, but we went in the direction of Du Bois a lot and not enough. in the direction of what Booker T was trying to push around vocational skill sets, and doing both, right, and arming our population with the ability to fill all jobs that a city or populace needs. So I think this is a step in that direction. Thank you. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
I really want to thank our speakers, all the people and organizations who have come to support this bill. I want to give a special thanks to a lot of young people, hundreds of young people that spoke to us, that we listened to. There were two in particular who took a lot of time, Araya and Anissa, who took a lot of time to talk to us in detail about what they needed, and were so impactful in shaping these bills. I want to thank Lisa Wright on my team and Katie Whitehouse, who really helped take these ideas and craft them into the strong legislation in front of us. And I want to thank my colleagues, Janice Lewis-George and Kenya McDuffie, who are signed on, I think, to all three bills, and the chairman, Phil Mendelson, who is signed on to the truancy bills. So with that, I'd be happy to take questions. Sam. Morning. Yes. Great question. The question was about existing vocational programs that are already existing that need more support. The first thing we're doing for vocational education is creating funding that can go both to schools and to organizations like Four Walls, like our labor unions. There are a lot of vocational programs that are already functioning. What is important is to be part of this program to get this funding. It has to result in an industry certification so that young people can go right into the workforce. So it has to meet those criteria, and it has to put them into jobs that don't necessarily require a bachelor's degree. So we want to make sure that we're creating programs that put young people within reach of those good paying careers. There are a number of programs under the umbrella of crime prevention. One, they are not organized. Two, we are not tracking metrics to measure how they are or are not working or how they need to improve. So we want to be very focused with these initiatives, not just creating vocational training, but vocational training that has specific outcomes, measuring the success of the grantees by how well those students are doing in school, whether they're getting involved in the criminal justice system, and if they are staying in those programs. So programs that are working, we're going to get them more funding. Programs that are not, we're going to push them out. And within 3 years, we're going to further expand the vocational programs to meet current demands, both the demands of students and the market demands, so that we can get people into careers. Right now, we are spending a ton of money, $1 billion on public safety, but it is not working. We know that by looking around. We have to do things differently because what's happening right now is not working. I believe by being very clear and focused on the specific outcomes, by measuring progress and being clear about expectations, we can turn this tide. That's right. The question was about students who have faced adverse childhood experiences, and they need people who are trained in crisis prevention, that are trauma informed, that have the same training as many of our social workers. That's why, while I want to put thousands of mentors and tutors into our young people's lives for kids across the city, for kids with the highest levels of trauma, we want them to have professional, full-time mentors who are trained in crisis response, who are trauma-informed, who are required to stay abreast of all the resources available to the city, because some of the resources the mentor will give them directly, other resources they will connect the mentee to. and these mentors will work with these youth in school, in their community, and in their home, so there's no gap. So right now, we can't get resources to schools quickly enough that have truancy issues because we don't know about the truancy issues until the school year is over. I want us to have the information we need to intervene earlier. With that information, we can direct resources to specific schools. We can also look at the schools that have lower truancy and learn from them as we go. But the information is the key. With that information, we can create the right tools. That's exactly right. By seeing the numbers month to month by school, we can focus the resources to those schools. I also think reporting the monthly numbers are going to force the mayor and school leaders to get resources to those schools more quickly, because none of us want to see high truancy in our schools, and we all know the outcome of it. Oh, let me go you first, and then I'll go to Sam. Yep.
One of the complaints I hear most frequently from DYRS, CSSD-involved kids is that there are programs out there, but that those agencies just aren't helping connect them to. How do you imagine that that can start to change so that if we get mentorship, vocational education programs set up, that kids who are maybe in trouble can actually reach those?
Programs don't work unless students know they exist and can engage in them. With mentors, we have trusted adults who understand what programs exist and who can help connect young people to those programs. I also very much believe that young people who see a strong career within reach are going to stay more focused on that track and pursue the resources that are going to help them get there. So in addition to the vocational programs, we also are offering stipends and transportation costs to cover other gaps that young people are talking to us about. But by taking a whole government approach to public safety, we're starting to connect what right now are very disconnected ideas and programs. Sam. Great question about the budget. This is a difficult financial time for the city, so the question is, how am I going to get the support of my colleagues in the city? There are a few very important things here. One, these issues are more common sense than they are expensive. The price tag for these bills is less than $5 million. What we can never forget is that there are costs to the crime we're seeing. There are costs in lives and family trauma. There's also economic costs. It has been studied the number of jobs and revenue that a city loses per gunshot in a community. We need to reduce those gunshots. We need to reduce those crimes. When we do that, our economy is going to strengthen. I think everybody understands the connection between public safety and our economy, so I don't think that the financial aspect of this bill this package of bills is going to be a tough sell for my colleagues. Again, the price tag is pretty low on these. That's right, $5 million for one fiscal year.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Talking to young people all the time, I mean, there's a multitude of things. Young people don't have enough, especially young people we find engaged in a lot of this activity. They talk about not having family members or enough family members that are doing well. They talk about the barriers that, especially if some of their family members have been formerly incarcerated, that are trying to do the right thing, that are trying to get certain careers that they're blocked out of. And so that leaves them in a position where they don't have people to lean to go to get information. They talk about, again, all the stuff that we see and we hear, they are impacted by that. Think about, and we talk about truancy, but we don't think about what kids have to navigate going to school and coming from school, right? Some kids, again, in impoverished communities, they are responsible for their siblings. Some of the things some of this stuff is really not new. It's just manifesting in different ways. But this is things that our communities have been grappling with for a long time, right? And so young people want to be safe. They want stability, and they want leadership, right? They want guidance. I think there's a myth out there that the youngins are just running wild and don't listen to anybody. I think what we also understand, so many people like credible messengers and violence interrupters and people that are working with young people, they are engaged, but they can't help our young people pivot fast enough, right? They can't connect them to resources fast enough. And to the councilmember's point, I hope that there's a lot of great work being done in our city, but it's being done in a very siloed way. And I think we need deep coordination and strategy and intention. And I think this is a step to at least help those conversations begin. And we have to continue to listen to what the young people are saying. She said it best, like they know better than us. And some of our strategies that worked in the past are really just should be left in the past, right? We have to listen to them now to continue to evolve and innovate. Again, and I think this is a step in the right direction.
I want to thank some of the folks who are here with us, and I'll come to your question. Black Swan Academy, obviously the Carpenters Union, DC Girls Coalition, AFSCME Council, District 20, DC Action, Parent Watch, PAVE, Parent Leader Organization, Empower Ed, Friends of Children, who guided us a lot in the mentoring aspect of this, Justice Policy Institute, the Festival Center, Open Goal Project, and some other labor organizations. Yes, Alex.
It seems like most or many schools at least are going to be facing budget cuts based on the mayor proposed. In an environment like that, do you expect that the truancy numbers are going to make a difference in pushing more funding to the schools? How do you look at tackling that?
Schools are facing budget cuts right now. On paper, looks like schools are getting more money, but that money is not keeping pace with the cost of inflation and salaries. So schools are looking at a reduction in their workforces. That's going to be difficult for schools to follow. That is all the more reason we need to make sure we're tracking truancy across the city, school by school, so that no school is left suffering with issues by themselves. They can cry out for help, but the data will be public, so they're going to get that help more quickly. But also, right now, most schools cannot offer vocational education, and the ones that offer it are very limited because the pot of money is too small. So we want to open up vocational education funding for all of our schools and for outside organizations so that schools are not trying to figure out how do we increase vocational opportunities with reduced budgets. Yes. Yeah. I haven't seen the AG's letter yet. I got it last night, but was preparing for this and meant to read it, didn't quite make it. It goes back to this issue of coordination. We have to coordinate our programs. We can't operate in silos. One of the other things we have to do with violence intervention, which is a very important part of a public safety ecosystem, we have to track our data and our metrics there as well, because there are a lot of programs that are doing things differently to some respect. I want to understand what's working and what can work better. I want to understand how we can improve. I want to understand which of the groups are performing the strongest so we can make them available for others to learn from them. But it is really important, one, that we coordinate, and two, that we track everything we do, because good intentions are not enough. Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I am very excited about this package of bills. I think these combined are a game changer. They fill the gaps that our young people have identified. They fill the gaps that young people are falling through. They will make our city safer if we have an approach that includes both consequences for committing crime, but also prevention, so that we can help more people stay off of that path. Thank you again for coming.
us?
You know how she is.
If you do it, you want to do it up there?
No, I'm just asking.